Alright, so today I'm going to put a GKTECH SWIRL pot sort of, I guess, kit onto the car. Just because SR20s can get air bubbles, particularly while sort of drifting, just with the water sort of splashing around. So the SWIRL pot kit's obviously made from GKTECH, and they do like a whole kit for 350s and 370s, but just for the SR20 I'm just going to piece it together. So I just got the SWIRL pot itself. I can put this one in the lower radiator hose. So this is obviously just a 34mm adapter. They'll just go on the lower radiator hose. It's a 1/8 MPT, and then it's got obviously a 1/8 MPT fitting to go on that. And then the upper radiator hose, it says to go to the highest bleed point. So you could, I guess, use the bleed. You could use like their water neck spacer that goes with a upper radiator hose joins the engine block, but I've already got a coolant temperature sensor in there. So what I'm going to do is use the second one of these, obviously another 1/8 MPT adapter to go for the upper side of it, and then one obviously then just joins the radiator overflow, and one joins a radiator overflow bottle. So that's just the 4 connectors we've got there. So the connectors for this goes to the OEM overflow bottle. The second one down goes to the OEM radiator tank, so where it used to go to. So obviously those two used to sort of join each other. This one goes to the highest point, in this case I can set the adapter, and this one goes to the bottom radiator hose, which we put in that. So I'm going to just go and have a look on the car and find a place to put this on probably the firewall. So I've got the SWIRL pot, and I've just made a bracket. It was just a leftover bracket of metal I had. So it was just a complete Z, and then I've just obviously lopped the end off it and drilled the holes for it. I probably just bent one of these up from something anyway. So it'll fit really, really well on the firewall, so I'll put that on there soon. So I'm just going to use the hardware that came with the SWIRL pot. Bolt that on. So that's just a 10mm. Cool, so I'm going to go bolt this up to the firewall. So I'm going to do everyone's favourite job and spill coolant all over the floor. Just going to need to replace the radiator hoses with the silicone ones, and obviously put in the adapters for 1/8 MPT. So I'm going to lift it up and make a mess. Remove the lower radiator hose, just so it goes to the bottom of the radiator up to the engine. I'm going to put in the coolant neck spacer adapter thing. So I've actually just got this kit I got from Phoenix Cooling Solutions in New Zealand. I think it was maybe $140, $130, don't hold me to that, for the whole kit. So I've just looked sort of like in Australia to get this hose and the upper radiator hose. I think it was like 120 bucks, just from a couple of, this is obviously silicone from a couple of different companies. So the Phoenix kit is every SR20 coolant hose. So I'm not necessarily going to replace all of these now, just because some of them are fiddly to get to, and I've done a heater delete on mine. So I'll just hang on to those and just sort of replace them as I need to, or when I next take the engine out. I might just go through and replace all of those. But that was a great kit from New Zealand. It took like a week to get here. I'm in Queensland, so really happy so far. So the hose, just trying to sort of match them up on the car, slightly different lengths, so I just had to sort of cut this one a little bit. So I've taken off, it's probably about 60mm off the top, and then about another maybe 30mm off the bottom, and it fits on there fine, no sort of kinks. So then what I got to do is obviously take the coolant spacer and then just work out that amount of room. So that's the bottom where it goes in. So I probably don't want to sort of put it there, it's just sort of getting too close to the radiator, so I want to put it as low as possible. So I've just sort of marked where I sort of think I want to put it on the hose, and then I'm just going to cut the hose both sides there, so obviously that'll take up that amount of space and we'll be right as rain. So I'm going to do that now. Cool, so I just cut out a little piece of the hose, so set that aside, I don't need that, and then basically I'm just going to use the hose clamps that came with the adapter from GKTECH. that on there. Hose back together, and then I've obviously got one of the 1/8 MPT to barbed adapters. This is also from GKTECH. You can also get them from, same sort of deal, you can get these from EFI Solutions. These are really good too. It's a different type of barb adapter. So there's the GKTECH ones. They've just got the single sort of barb on the end, whereas the EFI Solution ones just have multiple barbs up them. I just found these a little bit easier to sort of get on and off with the hose I've got. I should have mentioned before as well, the hose I got, which is from EFI Solutions. I've just got some just 8mm, just fuel injection hose. I'm just going to use it as water hose. Should be fine. I could be wrong. I've just removed the upper radiator hose, measured it up with the silicone one, and then I've just cut out the piece for the coolant adapter, and I'm just going to put a bit of thread tape on the 1/8 NPT barbed fitting. First I'm going to do a bad job of it, and then do just an okay job of it. The other one's quite tight, so I don't think it needs too much of this. Just a couple of runs around, I think it'll be okay. If it leaks, it's easy to fix. Hopefully it doesn't. It's just a 14mm. Do this on the cast and get all the angles right. Alright, let's just have a look how I've sort of plumbed it up. So, on, that's just the lower radiator hose, which I've put in, obviously the new silicone hose from Phoenix something, racing radiators, can't remember. And the GKTECH adapter, that's the bottom one. And then the top one I've just put up here. So I've just sort of tried to angle them, I guess, towards the passenger side, because that's the way that all the lines will be running, so the tank is. Because obviously you'll have one from the lower, one from the upper, you'll have this one come off, and then also the one from the overflow bottle that goes as well. So I just tried to pick the highest point. It's just easy over here. I don't have ABS, so there's plenty of room over the side for the swirl pot. So that's the bracket I made. So there's just two grommets. There's just another one of these grommets that just went nowhere. So I just took that one out. It was just a hole, and then I just put in a nutset, and then just put a bolt on there, so it'll hold on to that. It also means sort of here is that the bottom of the swirl pot, it's easier still to get that hose out of there. Obviously, I have 4 lines running from here, so I sort of try and run them, I guess, around the strut tower. So yeah, I'm gonna plumb up those lines. Okay, so swirl pot's all done. So I've just mounted it up there on the firewall. It's really high, which is good, and it just clears the bonnet again, which is good. Then so there's obviously the 3 lines. So, sorry, 4 lines. So there's the 3 on the top and then the one off the bottom. So I've just sort of tried to run them all together as much as possible, because they sort of run in the same place. So with the lines, you've got the very, very top one here, which runs to the overflow bottle here, which is cool. And then the second top one runs to the radiator, that's where obviously the overflow bottle went. You'll also notice that this is just a blank cap. There's no sort of spring or pressure in that, because it's not the highest point anymore. So that's just the GKTECH one they give you. And then you just move your factory radiator cap just to the top of the swirl pot, because that's now the highest point that has the pressure. Third one down, this comes across to the piece I've installed in the hose here, which is the highest radiator point. So there's a bleed point on the SR20s anyway. So the bleed point is just here where I've got this gold fitting. that just comes off the coolant neck. You could switch them around. I'm just using that one for the Mishimoto fans, just for them to, the thermo fans to turn on. The other thing you could also do is, I've got the GKTECH COOLANT spacer in here. You could probably use that as well. I just use that for coolant temperature sensors. You could switch any of those around. If you wanted to use that as an actual bleed point, you could. I thought about removing this thermo fan one and putting it in the upper radiator hose fitting I've made. You could switch around any way you want, so that works fine. And then last but not least, there's the very, very bottom one, which I've run down along the frame rail, which then runs down to there. I've just sort of run that along the bottom of the fan just to keep it all sort of tidy. So that way sort of all of the lines, I guess, are as tidy as possible. They all sort of run across all together. Yeah, so that's the swirl pop. So I'll just put the funnel on the radiator, do a bleed, and sort of see how that goes at getting rid of air bubbles. But overall, I'm really happy with it. It was a bit fiddly just sort of running the lines everywhere, but I'm really happy with the product. We'll see how it goes.